Demons fighting in the deep end. I turn all my weakness into something I believe in. Every scar, every doubt, that's fuel when I speak. Welcome to the battle where the broken get free. Yeah.
Welcome to Angels and Demons podcast. Today's guest is someone very special to me. My papa. He's the kind of man who never gives up on you, just like Jesus. He can find good in the worst situations because he refuses to let the enemy win in his life. No matter who needs help, he shows up. Through pain and suffering, he's always remained strong. And because of that, he's gone out of his way to be there for people who just didn't have a father figure of their own. In business, he's not just known for making money, but for building lasting relationships, mentoring others, and leading with integrity. An example of this is very prestigious award from the First Coast Manufacturers Association, Jacksonville, Florida, was given for being the best dad. Who gets that reward? With the famous TV shows, The Simpsons, and many others that make the dad always look like the stupid one in society, I think it's time we approach Father's Day coming up and we think about honoring our fathers and disregarding that we see on TV. So with that being said, please welcome my very own dad, my father, my papa, Dennis William Morgan. Hey, here you are, Papa.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We start all over every day, don't we?
Well, I'm 36 years old, so I've known you 36 years.
And I'm going on 77. Next one is 78. Here we are, Vinny.
I know.
That's it. Don't ask me what happened to the time.
Yeah.
Well, you have to. That's why I'm here. Okay?
Yes. You know what's ironic about it is, we didn't plan this and then here we are, it just happened to be to where you are here today. And that's very, very special. I'm honored to have you on this podcast.
Well, thank you, Vinny. It takes a lot of courage because I was very surprised to be invited because I thought, he knows better, I mean, are you okay? Do you realize what you're asking for? We'll find out,
You mean as far as having you on the podcast?
Yeah. And then who knows what's going to happen and what I'm going to say and,
It's really bothered me. And I was talking to you about this before, nobody can speak or say anything now without being backlashed. It's like you almost have to sit in a little corner like a dog, beaten dog, or else if you speak up, everyone's going to come attacking you, And so today I don't want that. I want to touch bases with you on some things because you have a lot more years than I do.
Okay.
And, one of those is you've lived through some wild, almost cinematic moments. If your life had a title, would it be Angels and Demons or something in between?
Vinny, I don't know how to answer that really. I can just tell you that it's a moment at a time and there's never a dull moment. And at the end of practically every day, it's like, did that really happen?
I'm going to help you. Pull your mic a little closer to you. Pull a little, watch this. Right there you go.
Okay.
There you go. So what do you mean by that?
Well, I think my first consciousness, I was maybe 4 years old or something, and living in Southern California in the 50s, being brought up in the 50s. And television had just about come out, and there was one TV on the block. And so when we heard about somebody had a TV, everybody was over there, centered around it, black and white TV. And then I just remember having hose fights, 4 or 5 years old. I remember briefly being in a high chair. And my parents...
That's pretty cool. As a baby, remember being in a high chair.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember being in a high chair either.
Yeah. It just was...
That's pretty cool.
It was very exciting all the time. I remember just always being in shorts. I was dark complected anyway, and so
Well,
in
you're
Southern California.
Italian.
And so what would happen, I'd be so dark, people would all the time compliment or make a comment like, gosh, you're so dark. And I mean, how did all that happen? You know, and then they would see the Italian background and so forth, you know, so that I help them out a little bit, you know.
Well, I mean, with Grandpa fighting in the Battle of Salerno, coming up through Italy, Naples, Italy, meeting Grandma, you know, and then Grandma coming over on the Androdoria sinking. And, you know, you as a child, you know, you didn't even know that at a time talking about television, you didn't even know that Grandma was even alive or dead, did you, when she was coming over on that boat?
I knew she was plenty alive before she was on the boat, and I couldn't imagine not having her. And
That's scary.
it was a very sobering time. And
Because there were what, 50, 60 people that died on the boat when it sank?
I don't really remember any. I just remember watching it on TV.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there was a flash. I think it was like on a Sunday night, and they said the Androdoria has just been struck, and then they would show us black and white TV, and the boat was turned over to one side, and I'm thinking my mom's on that thing, you know, what's going on, you know.
Wow, that's terrifying.
But I think that
What were your emotions when you saw that?
well, there was such a mixture because what happened very shortly, either before or after, walking to elementary school, Beachy Avenue, I watched a plane within half a mile, 1 mile, on a clear day fall out of the sky, hit the ground, and many young people were injured. It hit at junior high school.
What do you mean? Like an actual big plane,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
carries
yeah, yeah.
people in it?
Yes,
like,
like
a
a
Boeing
DC-9.
757.
It had hit a jet wing, and I watched this thing spiral and hit the
What?
ground, and we were all ducking, and it was like a big bomb that went off.
Everyone died.
Not everyone, a lot of people, a lot of kids were like, I think 70, 75 or something like that. But
Wow,
Vinny,
that's traumatic.
before we came here, I've just almost been ill trying to figure out, you know, like how am I going to respond to all of these things that I've read the list with you and so forth. And
Oh yeah, like Theo Vaughn said, like a chat GBT list.
I said, what is
what
this?
questions to ask your dad when he
Well-
comes on a podcast?
Well, the first thing I wanted to do is that I wanted to represent Jesus Christ in the way that he has been my all in all since I'm 27 years old, and now I'm 77. I just wanted that.
Oh, well, listen, you've done that. You served 38 years in a Christian community.
31 years.
31 years.
Yes.
So listen, you've done that. Trust
Well-
me. You've crossed. If there's a box you crossed off, you did that one. So that is in all due respect to you. You definitely served God.
Want to do justice to the wonderful people that he gave me. My parents, beautiful, broken,
Yes.
very broken, but beautiful people.
You mean broken because your mom and dad divorced?
They-
and at what? How old were you when your parents divorced?
I want to say 7.5, 8 years old. Okay.
How
it
did you
was-
feel when you heard that?
Well, it was and again, it's very difficult to understand the 50s unless you were there to hear stories every day or watch the movies and so
I
forth.
wish I could go back to the 50s.
Well-
I would really love that.
Well, for one,
Yeah, the cars, everything, the music, the cars, the fashion. I loved it all, you know? It's
There were-
really cool.
there was a sobriety. Everybody they'd gone through. My dad was 26 months on the front lines.
As a soldier.
He marries mama
Beautiful.
when it was at a victory dance in Naples. Okay. A 10-day battle had preceded that. He sees her at a dance, and like one and a half weeks later, he's married to her, and they don't speak the same language. Like you have to say, what in the world is going on? You see?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
then
That's love at first sight.
Then he
You
doesn't.
ever heard that expression, love at first sight?
And-
Grandma must have really put the charm on him.
Well, and then there are pictures, I think, somewhere in there. But one of the things,
Here,
Vinny,
grab a picture of grandma, you know, if you want, so people can see mom. Yeah, there you go.
okay,
So hold that up. That's Grandma Nona right there,
There she
and
is.
Papa when he was 8 years old. Look at that smile.
Okay.
You gotta love that. That's some true Italian joy right there. I love that.
well,
So she's a war bride essentially,
she's
right?
a war bride, and then during my life, my my grandmother came over. I was 4 years old,
Okay.
and she was the first that came over. And when you became a citizen of the United States, coming from Italy,
Yes, I can imagine.
you went through a tremendous process. And then once you became an American citizen, we had a dinner. So every Sunday
Yes.
we would have this dinner where
Dinner of fishes, 12 fishes, you know?
everyone is loaded up at the table.
It's beautiful.
And
The whole Italian family there.
and so and that when friends would come over, everybody talks at once, but there's like a 6-course meal that goes on, and the stories are going.
Yes. Was
And
there any Italian mafia that and during that time of coming over from Italy, do you remember any mafia association?
Well, later my mom would marry somebody who's Jim. I call him.
Okay.
I used to call him a stepdad.
Stepdad.
Then I would call him a second father.
Second
and,
father.
And now today I would refer to him as a bonus father.
Bonus father.
And a
stepfather, second dad, bonus father. That's
he
pretty
was
cool.
he was somebody I despised initially.
Wow. But then learned to love maybe later.
Well, very much so, because what he would do.
So was he in the mafia?
Well, the mafia during the time, you understand, my parents were born during the
60s.
no, the
50s.
yeah, and so what am I trying to say is that there would be when Jim had before he was born, he was one of 5, and his brothers passed away. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say that. His dad passed away, and so what would happen during those years is that the mafia, that was the welfare, meaning that if you were a widow, you were honored by the
mafia.
They were overlooked, and they were guaranteed, for one, they would not suffer any want of the basics in life, and they
took care of each other. Yeah, it's what you're trying to say is they really took care of each other.
But there was a promise that you wouldn't be involved in the mafia. Your kids would not be involved.
Right.
That was one of the blessings, that they would not be involved. So the second father that I had,
because Drake Dragna, if I'm not mistaken, he was the Al Capone of L.A. Drake Dragna, and so he had an association with. It was the
Dragna family, but Vinny, I really.
I was just trying to get some history from when you came over from Italy.
I would not want to put a whole lot of emphasis in that, because the only time I got involved was later in my life, when the lights went out and I found myself being desperate to want to really get ahead. I realized that within the family there were resources that I could possibly. And so I remember Louis Dragna came over for dinner, and I'm not a good person at this point, meaning that I'm looking for any way to get ahead. And I had people that had owed me money that were not being right to me.
Good. You better get them then.
Well, the point is that I was not a good person, and I did a lot of things that were not even legal and so forth. And I brought a lot of shame on my life, my family.
Well, that's what I love about our Italian culture. Don't mess with us. We have a large Italian family, and that's what I've loved about us. Like, don't mess with the Italian family, because, we have a history, that goes deep, and, you come after us and it can end very, very bad. So that's really cool that you had that bond.
Well,
that's really cool.
I think the most influential thing in my life was my father.
Yes.
And there was never any talk of God in my family. My mom was Roman Catholic and very much offended in all that process. My dad was a stumbled Baptist, and there was no talk. Now, in the 4th grade, I'll tell you a little story that kind of brings it into what was important. And one of the most influential things that
In the
happened
fourth
to me
grade?
in the fourth grade. Now we're talking about it at the same time, some of this drama, the Androdoria, the ship falling,
Yes.
the divorce, and so forth.
Yes.
My dad was very possessive to make sure, especially when he knew that there was going to be a divorce. He wanted to prepare me for
A really good dad.
he wanted to prepare me for the fact that as he got down on one knee, he said, "Son, I'm very sorry. You're going to have to grow up a little earlier than I wanted you to grow up." And so I'm going, where's he going with this thing? So he felt he had to explain to me the facts of life, sex. Okay.
That's a good dad. Really good dad.
I, at that particular time, didn't even know. I didn't even have a clue that. So he says, we're driving up Van Nuys Boulevard, went to Van Nuys High School, which is another story in itself. I'm coming up and he says, I'm going to talk to you about something. What is it? He says, well, you know that pecker of yours? I said, yeah. He says, well, he says,
Funny.
I'm going to tell you how this thing works. And so
Wow.
he's driving in his car and he goes, you see this and you see this, these things come together. And I said to him, you're kidding.
Wow.
I couldn't put it together.
Well, I mean, I bet when he explained that, you really appreciated that.
Well, let me tell you now picture this, because you know your grandfather.
Yes.
I looked at him and I said, do you have to? All right.
Oh, yeah. Do you have to?
Said,
yeah.
I said,
yeah.
do you even have to do that?
Yes.
I thought he was going to get in a car wreck. He thought that was so funny. He couldn't stop laughing.
Well, it is funny.
I said,
funny.
What do you mean? You know, what do you mean? But here, there's the story. I'm in the fourth grade. I want to explain something to you here. Okay. I've always been a very short fuse. I get mad, got in fights, kicked out of school. Every time you turn around, I'm getting kicked out of school. My dad has to come and so forth. And
just means you have a lot of energy. That's all.
It just had some things to work out. And I got in a tussle with this kid.
Good.
And I called him a kike. You don't do that anymore. It's like the N word. You don't say the N word unless you want to really get a mess on your hands.
Yes.
I called this kid a kike, which is a terrible thing to call a Jew.
Kike.
Not a good thing. He goes home, tells his mother, I'm driving home on my bike. She comes with this, maybe it's a 1946-7 Buick, black Buick. Comes off.
Oh, no. Did they beat you up?
She comes, speeds the car up. I'm on my bike crossing the road, and she's going to run over me.
Wow. Just kill you.
She gets out of the car. She's foaming mad. And the boy is standing up in the seats. In those days, they didn't have seat belts. He's looking out, and he's crying. And I'm going, oh, my God, what'd I do? So what happens? She gets in my face, and she says, do you have any idea what you're talking about and what you've said?
Well, you were so young. You didn't have any idea. You know, you're wearing the Jewish star.
Well,
of course, you love and you have the Jewish flag at the house. You love the Jewish people. But as a kid, you don't know that.
Well,
as a kid, you don't know,
Well, Vinny,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
as a
understand.
kid, you don't know that stuff. I mean, you're just reacting to your situation, you know?
So what happens? I go home and tell my dad. And I said, Dad,
this is what I did.
I said, this is what I did. And she told me the story about Hitler. Do you know that he killed some 6 million people because they were Jewish?
Mussolini and Hitler. Yeah.
So this is what my dad did. Picture this.
Yes.
He looks at me. He puts his hands over his face. He shakes his head. And I'm going, oh, brother, we're in trouble. And he says, it's all my fault.
Huh?
He says, it's all my fault. Now, I'll explain to you why he said that. I said, what? He says, it's my fault. I've never talked to you of the things of God.
Okay.
I was very offended. Your mother has nothing to do with this talk in the house. It doesn't work that way.
Interesting.
Then he told me a story that happened before he met my mother in World War II. He said he had an angel of the Lord. It's this angels and demons. Okay. All right. And he said he had an angel.
Wait. You're saying Grandpa had an angel of the Lord?
He had an angel appeared to him in a foxhole.
Wow.
And if you look under the Salerno invasion, it was very nasty. Very
Yes,
nasty.
yeah, I've read that story. They came up through Africa and then through the
No.
southern tip of Italy, Salerno.
So what happens is that he was told by this angel, listen, my dad was named Muson. He said, Muson, listen to me. You're going to get through this nasty war without a scratch.
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
But you need to hear this part. You're fighting evil. See, right? Angels and demons. You're fighting evil. And you're here to do a job. So do the job, get over it.
That's an incredible experience
Yeah,
to be visited from an angel and be told that. I
Well,
mean, I can only imagine
now
that
this
he probably fought with a lot of confidence after that.
Well, he did. And that was something that opened up my eyes. Now, once he told me that, what I did, I went to the other extreme. You say, what do you mean? I wanted to know where were the Jews, and I didn't have to look far because I went to Van Nuys High School, and the majority of people. My first wife was Jewish. Why? I would have nothing to do eventually almost initially with any church because I was a question box. I wanted to know about this, and this, and this. So what happens?
You had to question stuff.
I had a lot of questions, but what I learned is that I had such a love and appreciation for the Jewish people. I still do. Why do I do this? Because I'm only a Christian because the Jew can't be a Jew unless they have a Christian. I mean, it's just the way it works.
It's so interesting you bring that up because there's so much controversy always about Israel and the Jewish people. There's a controversy of whether they are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. There's issues of, you remember Munich during the Olympics? Munich, when they went in, the Jewish...
I watched it.
Right. Yeah. Munich is so... Israel is a very powerful, they have the Iron Dome, they've developed and manufactured. They're one of the most successful people on the planet. As far as inventing and innovation,
I noticed the same thing, Benny.
Yeah, they're one of the most successful people.
See, the thing is, without athletics, I played football, I was a gymnast, I was in track. It had not been for athletics, I would have never graduated from high school. I would have never.
Just because of the anger you were talking about, it was a way to release that emotion, that energy.
Benny, I was very distractible, and I could not follow what was happening in the classroom. My mom spoke a broken English in the home. My grandmother lived with us. And so I had two cultures that were going full blast, and I was very distracted.
Do you think maybe you had undiagnosed ADD?
Absolutely.
Because now they diagnose kids with ADD, but maybe you needed like Adderall or Vyvanse. What is that called?
I don't know. What I needed was I needed a tutor. I needed
love in the situation.
But the thing is, what I enjoyed was that when I did not understand what was going on in the classroom, I became a jokester and an entertainer.
Hey, that's pretty cool. You always. I remember as a kid, you always had those Groucho Marx glasses, and you have your harmonica and the Groucho Marx, and you always like to make life fun and good. And I think that that's an incredible quality of you, and you should never lose that. You play the harmonica all the time. I mean, feel free here. Play us a song. I mean, by all means, play us a song. Yeah. Woo. Okay. Let's get into it. Some music.
How about this? How about this? As a tribute to my Italian family that yet resides mostly in...
right here. There. Look right in the camera when you play this. Yeah.
Mostly...
Can I do some drums or something?
No, just hear it out. This one's
okay. I'll lay back.
This one is this is dedicated to my cousins in California, cousin Tina and Julia, and I'll go on. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, wait, let's do an intro.
Okay.
Signor, an Italiano song coming your way with the harmonica.
Here's one. Oh, my papa, to me, you are so wonderful.
Take it away.
It's more of a sentimental.
Yeah,
one.
I like this. Yes. Bravo.
Hey,
Bravo.
there you
I
go.
love that. Thank you.
A tribute to fatherhood.
Yeah,
okay?
well, I mean, listen, there is no podcast that is having a papa come and play the harmonica. Thank you.
You're very
You
welcome.
just changed America. You just changed podcasting. How's that make you feel?
Vinny, if I could,
mean, we just broke history.
Well-
We had the first harmonica player on a podcast.